then we add to the gap. There's the gap has already got healthcare, the gap has already got, has got economic, it's got educational differences, and we're just adding another thing, access to the web, use of the web. And so we looked at all kinds of things, and so we've looked at, the Web Foundation, we just created this Web Foundation because we think this is an issue. We are up for help. It's a bigger issue than any of the issues we've tackled before. People involved in web technology are really typically very excited about it. They're naturally drawn to trying to help, but it's huge. There's lots and lots of organizations in the field working on different areas of development, working on different areas of technology, and quite lots of them working on technology for development. We've already had people working on mobile technology for development. Getting the people to make their websites so that they will work on mobile phones is actually quite important for the people with mobile phones, many of which are here, but also, with web browsers on, but also for people in developing countries who don't have a computer, and that's mobile phone is the only thing. So we understand a bit about this, but we understand there's all kinds of other things. There's literacy. There's the actual cost of buying a piece of equipment. There's the cost of if you're not buying open source software, a huge amount you might end up paying for software, hundreds of dollars for the operating system if you buy a proprietary one. Maybe nearly $900 if you buy a screen reader because you're visually impaired. So things which really rule these things out. There's costs, so there's bringing down the costs of connections, which people are hopeful about because, for example, in Kenya and Uganda, the fiber optic is hit, but nobody knows whether the price will come down. There is trying to make sure, did I say literacy? Literacy doesn't just happen. Literacy doesn't just happen in Uganda, nor does being poor, nor does not having a computer just happen in developing countries. There's explaining to people how to use the web. So there's all kinds of ways in which some people may be motivated to get onto the web or demotivated to get onto the web. One of the lack of local content, the lack of stuff in your own language. You've been shown this great web, the person in the village that you've admired for ages because they've got a web phone that does web, you've gone out of their hut, you've looked at it and you're not convinced because there's nothing you can understand, because there's nothing in your language. That's because the people who put the system gave it to the person as a read-only system, not as a read-write system. They explained to him how to find blogs written by people in America, but they didn't explain to him how to blog himself. So one of the things we can push is get people to learn that it's a place where they can write, get them to put their own village into Wikipedia, get them to put their own village on OpenStreetMap. And if they do that, maybe we can then create these local communities which will give them an incentive so that they will actually, when they get interested in getting onto the web, when they go to a local telecenter, community internet center, they'll get all fired up about it because there's something. So what's the economics of how all these things work? Which of all these things is the crucial thing that we're going to push on? Of all these things that all these metrics about how developed people are, of all these ways in which we could fund things, of all the ways in which we could target volunteers, which then the Web Foundation is asking is the key one, which is the one that we're going to get most excited about and we should all jump on, which is the key thing in the Web Foundation. I don't know that one. So that one, we're asking for that one. I think the answers may be different in every country. But what's clear is that the magnitude of the problem is huge. The magnitude of trying to get everybody, Uganda is a state where a lot of people have got web instead of a lot of people haven't got the web is huge. So if all those efforts, at the same time, we actually pushed on all of them at once, it may be what's necessary to actually get a huge change. So it may be that we need just a massive piece of leadership by, for example, people in Europe going out there and saying, you know what, we've analysed the situation, we've realised we're going to have to do lots of things, but going to industry and saying that now is the time to do it, now is the time to invest, going to the government saying now this is the time to push, going to the people and saying this is the time to learn, this is the time to talk to your friends about it and getting it. So one possible scenario is we just decide that in 2010 we're going to go for it, we're going to pick a country, we're going to go for it, we're just going to focus on it, we're going to fund it, we're going to subsidize it, we're going to encourage it, we're going to go to it, we're going to twin its cities with our cities, we're going to twin its schools with our schools, and we're going to just raise the temperature so that it starts to boil. And so it's raise the temperature so that we get the snowball, raise the temperature so we get a snowball. I think the time has come that my metaphors are getting too mixed, but so I'll leave you with that thought of a great big cooking fire with a great big snowball on top of it getting bigger with every piece of wood we put on the fire. It's this report is interesting, but it talks about European competitiveness. It tends to talk about how Europe can keep up. As though it's worried that Europe's going to be overtaken by the other developing countries, or overtaken by some of the erstwhile developing countries, or some of the other developed countries. But no, I think maybe when you read the report, think about it in general. Don't think about how don't worry about Europe being competitive. Think about the way you want the world. Think about the way we would all like the world to be in 2025, and then figure out what's Europe's role in getting it there. Thanks.